Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 19th of January, 2020. It's a Sunday. It's our world news. We always say UK and EU news. That's because we just started covering the UK news a couple of years ago.
So in this moving and shaking in Europe, Angela Merkel is kind of on the way out, so that you might be seeing an alliance here with Salvini, maybe, and Macron. Okay, very interesting. What?
He tells me I can't show the picture.
Oh, he looks so snappy. Okay, you just have to imagine. So Italy is kind of poised for almost like a European domination in a way, with Angela Merkel on her way out.
Okay.
Macron is a puppet, and he's not very strong. He can barely hold his country together.
He can barely hold a mug.
44th week of consecutive protests and yellow vest protests in France, right? So he's not even very strong in his own country. So there's room here in Europe for different leadership. And I wanted to bring this booty right here.
What are you talking about? Somebody's behind? Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. That's behind you, though, so they can't see it.
Oh, good.
No, you moved it. Now they're going to see it. Stay right there.
So I wanted to bring you some hope. Now
it's sticking outside your head.
I got a booty behind my head. All right, when Matteo Salvini's leg...
I'm like 5, yeah.
Lega won the Bootia. Just kidding.
Oh,
the Lega won the state elections in Umbria. Okay,
so we would have seen it if you hadn't said something.
I'm sorry. So I want to talk about something. The Matteo Salvini's Lega party won the these elections in late October in Umbria. Now Umbria, it was a kind of a small election, but it had big significance because it was a center left area consistently. And if that area went Salvini, where's the rest of the country going to go?
That's a very good question.
So few, if any, noticed that it went towards Lega. Lega and the Brothers of Italy and the Forza Italy took a whopping 53% majority of that vote that was usually center left.
That's amazing.
Okay,
it's a beautiful thing.
With the Lega taking 37% total. It was this result that should have had everyone in Brussels worried. But since they have gotten finished patting themselves on the back for maneuvering around Salvini with that little tiny coalition that's barely holding themselves together, Salvini had an attempt to force an election, and he was thwarted in that particular effort. The news of that election was put on the back burner. But the result of Umbria was important because it showed Lega's ability to turn a center-left stronghold against history. The Democrats, the PD, had held sway there for over 50 years.
Wow.
No longer. The results showed that even though Salvini was no longer in the government office in Rome, his popularity had not waned. It's clear that polling since then has seen Lega hold its position as the dominant party, with Lega commanding 31 to 33% of the vote, which is huge, and other center and center-right parties he would make coalitions with, just blowing everybody else out of the water. The real story, however, is the surge in this Brothers of Italy party, who are picking up disenfranchised Forza Italia voters and held them for months, continuing to hold a solid 10. So that actually adds to Salvini's numbers. In short, Italian polls haven't moved much in the months, despite Salvini and Lega being ousted from the ruling coalition. When the Five-Star Movement, which was totally anti-establishment, went ahead and made a backroom deal with the establishment, the PD, which has only accelerated the M5's slide. Nobody wants them anymore. We voted you because you were totally anti. They were Eurosceptics. They were anti-immigration. They were socialist, though. Okay, more socialist than Salvini. Remember, the M5S was formed to stop the PD from holding on to power and challenging them on EU membership and continued adoption of the euro as Italy's currency. And then they became bedfellows with them. And people in Italy, they're not that stupid, okay? Making that deal with the establishment like that has alienated a lot of that base, and is threatening to collapse the all-important 16% level, which once breached to the downside opens the doors for someone else to come in dramatically. So that is the backdrop against the PD, the establishment, the Five-Star Movement, government are dealing with. The Lega alone polls close to better than these two together. Okay, the PD and the M5S Lega polls even better than them together, and it is in this upcoming election is what we're talking about in Emilia Romagna on January 26th. So it's coming up. That's why this is news coming up. That is their next headache. The Financial Times pointed out in their recent article, Salvini and the Lega have made some serious inroads in another traditionally heavily left-leaning area. Giorgio Benetti, a 35-year-old sweet seller with a stall in Ferrara Center, believes that many voters are willing to switch to the right to express a general political dissatisfaction. Local issues, such as the collapse of the Ferrara Savings Bank, 130,000 investors lost their savings, have also given the voters a reason to want to punish the PD, which was in charge both locally and nationally when the rescue happened in 2015. This is a protest vote. People don't believe that the left is working for them anymore, says Mr. Benetti. My grandmother used to say that people have no problem changing their shirts from red to black if they need to.
Okay, that's actually really cute. But here's the deal. I know you're going to keep reading, but pause there. To analyze what the left is doing to themselves when it comes to immigration, whether it's here in the United States or over in Europe or wherever. When you put... People vote for the left, unfortunately, like poorer people vote for the left because they give them stuff.
Right.
Because they take care of them. Because their needs are supposedly put forward. But in a place like Italy and in other places, it will end up happening in the United States if this continues. When you see foreigners are taking over your life, when they are taking over your town squares, when they are taking over everything and they are getting preferential treatment... then your allegiances are gonna shift.
I was socialist because you were giving me stuff, and now you're bringing in the stranger and giving my stuff to them. I'm not socialist anymore.
Right.
I need to
So
take
it's
my
not
vote.
hard. I love what this lady says. My grandmother used to say that people have no problem changing their shirts from red to black if they need to.
So,
it doesn't matter. The people don't care. They're gonna switch.
But it's similar to what Donald Trump did in 2016, and Boris Johnson just pulled off in the UK. These nominally right-wing candidates became the champions of domestic working-class people. In Italian political terms, the former communists in Emilia Romagna are now firmly trust Salvini to protect their futures. And job rather than the traditional left-wing communist parties. Hey, I'm just telling you it's good news because people can change. They can leave communism. Isn't that fantastic? Cool. All right. Current polling there has the leg with 31% of the vote. A massive, I don't know if you guys can see the polling behind me. A massive 12-point rise over the last election. And the PD has they're down 20 points. So the Lega is leaning. And since parties can campaign in coalitions in Italy, the current center-left versus center-right numbers in this area are within a couple of points. But Salvini's guys are rising fast, and it's very possible that the polls haven't quite caught up to the shift in sentiment leading up to the election. That happened in 2018 when the Leg was polling behind the Forza Italia by a couple points, but would come out ahead. So I really think the polls are behind. So if you see, I think that if this happens, it's real. The Leg, Salvini's got all the momentum in the world going his direction because the left, they're open. I have articles up. They want amnesty for 700,000 illegal migrants.
Wow.
They're opening their doors. They're saying we're kind of open for business. Come on in, illegal immigrants. I don't know why, but I know it was that video with that. The guy, the leader of the PD, I saw it with Angela Merkel, and he was really schmoozing her. He's like, we're going to be more open to migrants. We'll be more, help me keep me in power because there are forces.
Sure.
She's got a backdoor pocket to George Soros and money to help try to make things happen. But when you've got people, on your front door, there's no propaganda that can undo
and that's
what you
the
see,
thing.
The rapes, the murders, the
when
crimes.
it's happening in your town, when you're hearing about what's happening to your neighbors or your family or your friends, it really doesn't matter what they put out in the news.
So the coalition is already so fragile. The only thing gluing it together is their fear of a Salvini. If they lose, it is hard to see how they make it through the spring. The fear is well founded. No matter how hard they try to hold together their political forces within Italy, they will fall apart. Losing this Emilia Romagna would create a serious panic in the ranks of of both ruling parties. But the political establishment in Rome is dead set on keeping Salvini out of power for as long as possible. And that goes double.
They're not going to be able to do it.
That goes double for the traditional EU leadership in Brussels. But one thing working in Salvini's favor here is that it has been, is the German Chancellor Angela Merkel was pulling the strings in Rome to keep the Italians in sync with the German fiscal and monetary demands, but Merkel is on the way out. And there is a concerted challenge to German rule coming from President Macron, actually. Macron wants fiscal integration with the Eurozone, is suffering from Merkel's insistence on punitive austerity. And then the leadership challenge in Italy will not be fought nearly as hard as it was in the past, by the EU, because there's just really nothing they can do. Salvini either wants a stronger seat at the decision-making table in the EU,
right,
fiscal policy, or for Italy to be let out of this monetary union. It's in that sense, Salvini is a future ally for Macron or against Merkel and her successor. So this article, this person sees Macron actually kind of maybe making a legitimate. This is from Tom Lugueno from the Strategic Culture Foundation here.
Macron is a puppet, and Macron will go wherever the power winds blow.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and play this some good news here before we go back to some like the political stuff. There's some change happening. Britt Braza says that he heard about it 10 years ago. I'm not going to play all of it. So, and unfortunately, I believe it's a Channel 4. So I really have to be careful with how much we're playing.
We got to stop it like every 5 seconds. Channel 4 has literally shut down our channel
two or three times. It's okay.
You literally need to pause it like every 20 seconds.
Okay.
I'll know that something weird is going on down on the farm when you have, on the one hand, a campaign group like Rewilding Britain heaping praise on, of all people, DEFRA, the government's agricultural department. Now, why? Because they are heralding what government is proposing of something towards a green light to the rewilding movement. But it's very early days.
I'm not kidding. Pause it.
Okay.
Like, if you allow a long stream of time, that's when the copyright.
They usually got us at like 10 minutes, but okay.
No.
And that might be over-egging it somewhat. But there's no doubt the government is pointing towards rethinking what farmers do, what they produce. Of course it's food, but do they not also, with the right subsidies and payments and incentives?
So they're talking about, and actually what he says here is, and I guess because, you know, maybe Michelle can put the link and you watch the whole thing, it's really neat. But he says here that Brexit is actually making this rewilding of the landscape happen because the EU put on, okay, we want production out of you. You were rewarded for more meat, more production, more animals.
Right.
And this is what bothers me about the EU. They claim to be so environmental. They claim that they really care about the environment, but their policies and not allowing people to make these kind of decisions to bring health to landscape. I mean, this is beautiful, but they're actually bringing it back to make it even better. It's just
too few trees. The Pennine landscape we pretend is natural and is anything but.
I think the countryside, you know, I think it needs a massive renaissance, not a revolution.
Yesterday.
So a massive renaissance. And so what they have done, so I'm going to kind of move forward here, bring in like less animals and allowing the trees to come forth. And then like they took a dam away from this river here and allow the restocking of fish to come back. And then they're bringing, and Kansas was telling me about this, he was showing me some videos, they're bringing back the more heritage type breeds. Yeah, you can just actually play in the background. I can do the voiceover for you. They're bringing back more heritage type breeds that are stronger, breeds that are hardier, for cattle and sheep. And I'm going to
Old roaming Galloway herd was penned for blood testing by the vet.
A roaming Galloway herd, meaning going, they got the trees and the mountains and the hills and making it.
That will decide when it's time to move up the valley or.
He says it's easier. I want you to hear him say
Penned for blood testing by the vet. Otherwise, you'd be lucky to see them grazing semi-wild over fell and forest here.
There is a boss, there is a matriarch that will decide when it's time to move up the valley or further away or under cover under the trees. So you can observe from a distance and see how she will.
There's a matriarch there in the cows that decide, hey, this is where we're going to go today. This is where we're going to go today.
that.
It's really a beautiful system, and it's something that we here at Resistance Chicks promote, and we will be promoting even more. We're going to a conference on this, like Rogue Freedom Food Conference on Saturday.
Call and the others will respond. It's amazing really to stand back and watch how they act. Totally different to my cows at home in the fields.
His flock of Herdwick sheep has radically reduced in number. Yet hill farming, he says, has never been as much fun, never been easier, and never made money like now.
So he says it's never been easier and it's never made money like now. And it's unfortunately because it is Channel 4 that we can't play all of it. But you can see it. They're saying that the trees have grown back. It's easier on him. They took a dam away. And this rewilding effort is just a beautiful way that you can bring back, you can do agriculture in a way that is actually helpful for the environment and helpful for the farmer and helpful for the animals. And he mentioned the herd, and I'm going to try to see if I can find this. Matt,
while you're doing that, Horatio said I could show the picture without his head of his fancy suit. So there you are. It is a really, really sharp suit, and I don't know why he made me show the one without his head in it, but there's your very own, our very own Yorkshireman who needs to come on our show again sometime soon. So there you go with your fancy snazzy. Oh, somebody in the chat, what was it? Britt Baza says that we were saying Yorkshire wrong. Well, guess what? We say it how we say it here in the States. Yorkshire. Actually, if you were in the United States, you would literally say Yorkshire. But I think I do a good job of saying Yorkshire. Yorkshire.
So maybe I'll have Matt bring me some videos up just to kind of get you an idea of they're bringing forth.
It can't be Yorkshire. That's not how you would say that. Yorkshire. Nobody tell me they don't say Yorkshire.
The head witch. I don't know how to say it. The head. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to spell it. The Hedward sheep. Matt was showing me videos last night of these super friendly dog sheep. Maybe
I need a dog sheep.
Send Matt a little message. Say, send me a link to your video. I don't know where my phone is. I couldn't
find it this morning.
You just didn't take it with you?
No, I mean, I meant I couldn't find it later. I don't know where it's at right this very second.
So, send him a Facebook message. Say, send me a link to the video of your friendly sheep. Mom, I was trying to put this all together for Mom last night. She's like, what? I don't understand what you're talking about sheep.
Did he send it to you, though? Or did he
didn't
just show
send
it to you?
He showed it to me last night. That's the
problem.
problem.
Do you want me to Google dog sheep?
No, just ask. He'll be awake. He should be able to tell you. He should be able to tell you. While she brings that up, this is we're doing worldwide news. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Vandana Shiva. She is a former nuclear scientist. She is an amazingly brilliant woman who is fighting against Monsanto, especially trying to rewild India. Okay, because Monsanto has taken over and destroyed everything. And I have an eye-opening video for you today. It's not from Channel 4, so hopefully we can play a good portion of it. So I'm going to play this for you. This message. This is her New Year message this year.
I send you my love.
I'm not going to, it's not going to work. I think this is, let's see. Never mind. Michelle's going to bring up my video.
I'm going to try. I'm asking him to send it to me.
No, this video. Because this isn't working anymore. I just have to, we'll have to find another.
They're expensive. I think that was like $60.
Wonder if you got to, we'll check if there's a warranty on it or something.
I think we've had it, well, we've had it since we started our studio. So we've had it for probably a little bit less than a year.
Well, let's see. Because it's not working anymore.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Let me go to the,
I feel like I lose control when I don't get to play my videos.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's awful. Okay, so here's the rewilding. And you want me to go to the
history. Yeah. And just play Dr. Vandana Shiva's video right there. It's muted.
Is it?
Yeah.
Transition from 2019 to 2020. We're beginning the decade of transition, the decade of possibilities, the decade of moving out of the fossil fuel, poison-dominated age the age of hate and division and mechanistic reductionist thought, the age of separation, to an age of diversity and unity. An age where we awaken to the fact that we are interbeings. We co-create with the earth. We co-create with our beautiful bullocks. We don't really need fossil fuel on our farms. We don't need subsidies for tractors. All the beautiful vegetables and the beautiful medicinal plants are there to bring us health. Our health is in the soil. Our health is in the food. Our health is in the diversity. In the soil, all we have to do is give a little bit back to the earth. And the diversity of organisms that work in beautiful cooperation and beautiful harmony are giving us so much soil fertility, 100% more organic matter and organic carbon, 100% more nitrogen without synthetic fertilizers made from fossil fuels. It's in this world of diversity, it's in the world of interbeing, it's in the world of cooperation that we create sustainability, of living at peace with the earth, and we create peace, of communities of diversity living at peace in society. Our national anthem of India sings so beautifully that all the religions came from all over the world, from the east and west, and came to India and wove a garden of love. That's what we do in Newfoundland. Every day with biodiversity, we are weaving gardens of love, gardens of hope, gardens of a future. Let us, with love and determination, work with all the species on this planet, celebrate all the diversity of our societies, and recognize that just as poisons were manufactured for killing people in concentration camps, the toxicity of hate is manufactured for turning the world into a concentration camp. We don't have to go that way. We can be living in gardens, sowing gardens, working with the soil, working with the animals, working with our plants, working with the insects, working with the future. That's the word.
Isn't she lovely?
Let's sow the seeds of life.
She sounds like Dr. So-and-so that just dropped out of the Democratic race.
She does, but here's the thing. Let me see.
Just go back to your history.
She seems really all nicey and everything, but she's got... Are they seeing everything?
They are.
I'd rather not, but that's okay. I like that.
We're Carvana.
To hide.
No, I know. I just
We
rather...
watch the same stuff you guys do.
No, I just like to have it. It feels like more professional.
It is more professional, but it's okay.
Yeah. You got to find a way to do this when we don't have my... if I can't play videos behind me.
It's better when they can see it anyway.
All right, so she seems all nicey. But girl, like seriously, I'm going to bring it all together, but I'm just going to have her keep talking for a second.
For being on the phone.
My pleasure.
I want to begin early on. You were not supposed to be an activist. You were a physicist. You wanted to work in nuclear energy. And then you came across in the early 1970s what is known in India as the Shipko movement. Can you explain us how you came across?
Yes, I was training to be in India's nuclear establishment. But then my sister woke me up to the hazards of nuclear. She was a medical doctor. And I went deeper into theoretical physics. I was going to Canada to do a PhD in the foundations of quantum theory. And before I went, I wanted to visit some of my favorite forests in the Himalaya. I've grown up in the Himalayan forest. And this forest I had trekked in was gone. The stream that came from this oak forest was gone. And while returning to Delhi, I talked to a tea shop owner, and he talked about how there's a new movement called Shipko. So in my heart, I said, I'm going to come back every vacation and be a volunteer for this movement. Women came out to say, we're going to hug the trees. You cannot cut the trees because from the trees come our water. The trees stabilize the mountain and prevent landslides. The trees prevent floods and droughts, and they also give us everything we need. We will be huggers of trees. The name Shipko means to hug. And
she sounds really kind of like, oh, la, tree hugger. But listen to her over here. Let me see if I can get you over here.
He's a dictator, and he's there now across the world. Bill Gates, who's donated dictators, especially one man, I should say, Bill Gates,
economy, Monsanto has lost 11 million.
Hang on.
The economy in the villages where we work has jumped tenfold because now the and the rest came from the public sector, from the government labs, the research institutions. So Monsanto came illegally, didn't take any approval, with the promise that they would increase farmers' incomes and have this magical technology to control pests. Well, the bollworm is now resistant. Farmers are in debt. Farmers are committing suicide. The area has been ruined. The pollinators are gone. There's no pollination. The groundwater's gone. So there's nothing about the ecosystem. So I saved seeds. We brought organic cotton seeds back. We work with the Gandhi ashrams on hand spinning and hand weaving of this organic cotton. The economy in the villages where we work has jumped tenfold because now the wealth is staying.
One of the things we covered early on and when we started our show was the suicides from farmers in India because Monsanto went in promising that they would have these like super seeds and everything would go great and you would be, and the idea of getting these super seeds was that you would have a better crop. Mm-hmm. Well, actually what Monsanto says, you can't save the seeds, which she goes on to say is that should be humanly, that's against the laws of nature and nature gods. You can't patent a seed. But what Monsanto would do to these poor farmers is they would, oh, well, guess what? You've already ruined your biodiversity. Your soil will only work with our seed now, and then your soil will only, the seeds will only work with our chemicals, and we're raising your prices. And hundreds and thousands of farmers were committing suicide. And she's like, they're destroying the landscape. They're killing with the chemicals. And she's going to tell you here, she makes no bones about it. I actually probably need to buy this book that she's talking about, where she makes no bones about it. These chemical companies that were designed in Nazi Germany to kill people are now the same exact facilities that could produce chemicals, but now they say they're for pesticides. And the guy's like, but you're not saying that they're still trying to kill people. And she's like, I am saying that they're still trying to kill people, but they're saying that they're just killing pesticides instead. Like, she makes no bones about it. She lays it all down. I love her hippiness, but she is like so intelligent.
Can you
so
take
smart.
a second, because we have some, and I'm not going to call out anyone, but we have some like very childish and immature comments about the dot that she wears on her head.
Oh,
okay. It's
Indian
India. You know how they always say it's Indian, the dot, not the feather? Okay. I mean, seriously, I think somebody had said that it means that she's married. It means a lot of things to people in India. They have like 800 million gods. Okay. I don't know exactly what it means, but I respect it and it's totally fine. Okay. I don't know why everybody has to be
But you know what? Listen to what she has to say, but she's way smarter than you.
She's way
Were
smarter
you part
than
of a nuclear biophysics
in the village, rather than being siphoned off as Monsanto's profit? And I read a new study that says because we've saved seeds, we brought local seeds that can be saved back into the economy. Monsanto has lost 11 million.
I want to get to your latest book because you widen, I would say, your attacks is not only Monsanto and the likes, but also others. You attack what you describe as the billionaire dictators, especially one man, I should say, Bill Gates. Who you describe as the Christopher Columbus, I'm quoting you, of modern times, and that's not a compliment, obviously, whose mission is to impose, quote-unquote, genetically modified organisms and digital dictatorship to small farmers across the world. Bill Gates, who's donated billions to improve public health in poor countries and so on, you're saying, essentially, he's a dictator, and he's there not to help, but to make people poorer, more dependent.
Well, Bill Gates is actually continuing the work of Monsanto because Monsanto had so many movements, and we held a tribunal on Monsanto. A buyer bought up Monsanto, but when Bill Gates pours money into Africa for feeding the poor in Africa and preventing famine, what's he doing? He's pushing the failed green revolution. He's pushing chemicals, pushing GMOs, pushing patents. And now pushing new...
Knowingly, or he thinks it's a good thing and he may be wrong?
Well,
it's not the same thing.
There's enough evidence of what it does. There are enough letters to him from farmers of Africa, from governments of Africa to say, this is not the way to go. The United Nations accepts agroecology, working with ecological systems, as the best way to go. Now, Bill Gates is trying very hard to shift the patenting issue now to digital. So you just take a genomic map and you say, my invention. You don't create a seed. Seed is self-organized, self-making, and evolution in continuity. Just by making a map, a genome, and you have no idea what the seed does. And this is something he's pushing very, very hard. My book records how he financed DivSeek. I've talked about how he's pirated seeds we have saved that tolerate salt and floods. And he says invention. This biopiracy is a bit like Columbus, where Columbus is supposed to have discovered America when he basically went as a pirate. Why do I call him today's Columbus? Because he's carving out new colonies. Software should have stayed open software.
So you say he has a strategy, a nefarious strategy, which you describe as philanthrocapitalism, is a nefarious enterprise. And so you're not saying he's using the wrong methods, he's pursuing a wrong goal with self-interest. You also attack Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, saying they're all linked together. I mean, this reeks a bit of conspiracy theory, doesn't it?
Well, my book is based on the new evidence that's coming out. All you have to do is see the ownership, and I have data in the book on how there's common ownership. We stopped Mark Zuckerberg from trying to get into Indian agriculture. It was a big mobilization of people who believe in the open internet.
What did he want to do?
Well, basically what they do is they mine the data from the farmers. And right now, all over the world, there's new debates on privacy issues, on the data mining. There's new data in the book on the hijack of democracy. You have enough, no corporations. I've grown up in India where democracy works. United Nations and the FAO, in UNCTAD, every agency, Bill Gates is still imposing and forcing GMOs, which is a failed enterprise. And he's not just imposing GMOs, he's taking what has failed and rejected by governments. My government threw the BT aubergine of Monsanto out. Bill Gates resurrects it in Bangladesh. We rejected the golden rice for solving the problem of blindness. He finances it to continue through Philippines. So he's taking all the failed projects with the wrong thinking that life is like a word program and can be chopped and cut and pasted, when it's an amazing complexity of self-organization.
She's absolutely right. There's one more thing I wanted to play here.
The two biggest
are
Vanguard.
We're Carvana, the company who invented.
Because I think I skipped it at the very beginning, because what she talks about
energy, and then you came across in the
to the hazards of nuclear. She was a Himalayan. Women came out to say, well, the name Chipko means to hazards of the forests, that forests are not timber mines. Indigenous knowledge came from my engaged perspective.
So you've became really engaged in this. You've a nefarious influence on agriculture. There are a number of examples. There was the BT cotton in India especially. And you said, this is not a matter of helping farmers grow their land, but actually making them dependent on those big corporations.
The entry of corporations into agriculture is so wrong, because the corporations only bring poisons. Most of them have roots in Hitler's Germany, in making gases to kill people in concentration camps.
That was not their aim. Their aim was to give people enough.
No, the aim was to make chemicals that kill people. After the wars, they said, why should we stop making these chemicals? Let's say now they'll kill pests. They will give fertilizer. Fertilizers were made in the same factories that made explosives and ammunition for Hitler's Germany.
That's not the same goal.
No, the companies are the same and the processes are the same. So your rhetoric might change, but the goal does not. The materiality of a death-making chemical doesn't change when you say it's now for feeding the world. I did a book on the violence of the Green Revolution because Punjab.
That's what I wanted to get to you. She goes and then she ties in the whole thing with Monsanto and Bill Gates, because this is... And that's why I wanted to play her happy message first, because she she's saying the people are waking up, that they are making especially inroads in India. So when you see her using the animals, she's like, listen, this is the way to go. And I'm all the time thinking about these, the climate change people who, like, for example, I have a friend who has, like, I think over 100 acres, and he's going to get married. And I said, well, why don't you just build a house here? And he says, I can't, because putting in a septic system is going to cost like $30,000. Right. Okay. Whereas, like, if you go in Kentucky, you can build a septic system for under $2,000. Okay. Because certain different rules. So most of the people that I know who are trying to buy a new house or build a new house, they have to do so in subdivisions. Well, subdivisions, especially in America, they strip mine. They literally go in, they take away all the biodiversity. They take away the pathways for deer and animals and foxes
they just
and raccoons.
Literally plow through every tree instead of building around trees, because that's too difficult because of roots.
Right.
They just tear everything down.
Because it's cheaper if you can bring in a whole system for, let's say, 200 or 300 or 400 houses, then you can put in the whole sewer systems and the water systems because of regulations. So I bang my head up against the wall, and I'm praising God that He's going to bring waking people up, okay, in 2020. But, like, we could save those, let's say, those deer paths if people could just, my friend could just build a house on his own property rather than have to go buy a house in a subdivision because it's $30,000 to put in a septic system. It's absolutely insane. The green revolution people, the climate people are all about, Greta says one line right, continued economic growth. Well, actually, a healthy thing for the green movement would be less economic growth, but actually in return it would be a different kind of economic growth, where she says economies are booming because she's got organic cotton, which she could sell at a higher price. The women are learning to weave with their hands again, and they're relying less on machines. It's healthy for the environment. It's healthier for the people. Trees are growing again. Especially the Western mentality of strip mining everything, and then at the same time saying, well, our only problem is we need renewable energy. That's our only issue. We just need more solar and more wind energy. That is their only answer. Or the socialists say we need to redo the whole economic model. No, we need more people in charge of their own gardens, in charge of their own lives. And most of my liberal friends who are all about climate change and we need to do this and we need to do that and we need genders and we need blah 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 blah. They live in subdivisions. They don't grow a potted plant. They don't grow their own food. They take their kids 7 nights a week somewhere in their fossil fuel, well, maybe hybrid car now, to a thing. They bust their kids on diesel buses to schools, not even thinking twice, well, this is the way we go. It's not my fault they haven't created electric cars yet and electric buses yet. We have to have the giant schools. And forget homeschool. So it's like, I was talking to Patriot Gallery. I want to bring hope to you guys in that God has given every single person everything that they need today to do His will. To do His will today. Okay? What we want to try to do is mitigate and bring things back from the brink. And Mom has a beef with Alex Jones because he says it on one side of his brain.
Small beef.
And then on the other side of the brain, he's like, we need more technologies. No. What we need,
but they all do that. Oh my gosh, Glenn Beck does it.
And it's really, it's a satanic twist in the mind, because Glenn Beck is like living off the grid, and then he's like, but we need more technologies. But more technologies are caused by strip mining the land, and like, you know, they've got kids strip mining in China to get the little processors, the stuff to make the processors. And it's like, okay, we have what we have now. Let's scale it back. Let's scale it back.
No, and it's not enough though, because it's like anything, I call anything pornographic that is in society beyond the norm of what it should be. So they are, it's like a drug where you always need more. You need a bigger high. Right. With the technology, they need more, and they need more, and they need more.
But here's the answer. That's the problem. But here's the answer. The answer is, let's scale it back.
They don't want to. They can't.
No. I'm telling the people.
Okay.
In their lives. Their answer for them.
Regular people. Okay? Everyday people.
Because you're talking, that's the problem.
Right.
Okay. They. If we get so stuck on they, you literally get stuck in a box and you're like, well, if they're in control, I
actually meant even Alex and Glenn though. It's the human thing. Like, I need the next iPhone. I need the next this. I need the next this. I need it. I need the new.
That's the problem. The solution is what I'm trying to show you. For you in your life and in your prayers, peace be still.
Right.
Peace be still, Alex. Peace be still, Glenn. We want to renew the covenant, Glenn. You're absolutely right on that. Alex, when you see the sunset, you're right. When you see a child, that's God. But strip mining the world, you don't see them anymore. You don't see the trees. I keep seeing this vision, the trees and the mountains. But then what Monsanto comes in to do, and what the fossil fuels come in to do, they strip mine the peace and the serenity. There's a reason why you take a country drive and it feels peaceful, but it's not peaceful in America anymore in the past 20 years because farms aren't biodiverse. They're just Monsanto corn with a little Monsanto sign. And we can fight it. We're winning. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. It's a kind of a thing we always bring it around to farming and faith in farming, because what you eat, you are what you eat. You are your health.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't want to make a God out of it. The letter law kills, the spirit of law gives life. I was telling Mom, value the natural things. Value somebody who grows green beans and cans them. Value raw milk. Value when somebody, knits something with their hands. Value that. And the more value that you put on natural things, you can change the world. We're changing the world. There is a movement. And that is why this Green New Deal is satanic, to come in to try to squash this grassroots movement that's already coming up and growing to change the world, to get it back to God. We see people healing the land, regenerative farming, which means your land is healthier after you're done with it, year after year, than somebody else touching it.
That's the way that it's designed to be. You look at Joel Salatin, who, like you said, we're going to see this weekend at our conference. You look and see what he's managed to do. He was trying to farm on big boulders in Virginia, like rocks. And I don't know how many feet of soil they were able to literally replace and replenish with his way of farming. So you can leave the earth better than the person before you, and you can do it without being Greta Thunberg.
Exactly.
And you can do it without a political agenda, just a personal agenda. I want to live healthier. It doesn't have to be this big letter of the law. Guess what, guys? We had Domino's pizza yesterday. And we have we have a chicken full of freezers. We have a freezer full of chickens that we raised ourselves. It's finding a balance, and that's what the left doesn't have. They have zero balance. You can just, you can sense the uptightness. You can cut it with a knife. It's ridiculous. They don't know how to say, you know what, this is wrong, and we're working our way toward making it better, but instead of us saying, well, let me just take all of your rights away in order for us to do that.
I had some other stories.
We were going to do the Job of the Hut thing. Okay.
I had some other作stories in Europe, Sweden. Women are quitting mall jobs because they're being harassed. Rapes and crimes are up in France. Wow. People are leaving Germany because of the migrant crisis. Crime and rapes are up for young teens in Sweden. And all of this because of the push and the migrant push, and we can cover that, and you know that's there. We cover it a lot. This is my last story for today, which was,
I gotta get out of the way. Here's the thing: he is not naked. The thing that disturbs me more about this picture than anything is he literally looks like a chicken. I've got a freezer full of chickens. Cornish when cross. You process and butcher a chicken, he looks like he's naked. He's not naked. I don't know why his pants are that color, but they are, unfortunately.
Okay. This is the most wanted ISIS mufti. He was the guy that ISIS went to say, what does Allah want? He's their religious leader. He's the guy that said Allah wants you to rape and behead and do all kinds of crazy things. What's absolutely hilarious, Job of the Cluck. That's funny.
Thank you, Hurry.
What's absolutely hilarious about this guy is that ISIS fighters prided themselves on being disciplined. And they hated gluttony. Ain't got no discipline. And the question is, it's like, Anybody could have arrested this guy, right?
I don't know how they arrested him though. Like,
No,
how do you
here
get
they
that
did.
guy to move?
They put it. They had to bring a truck.
That's
This
a
is
truck.
the
I hope
back
they
of
can
a
see that.
truck.
Hang on. Let me shrink to make sure they can see it. Okay, yeah.
That's the back of a truck.
He looks like he's been fried at that point. Looks like a whole fried chicken.
Yeah,
Move
yeah.
your head. Move your head again. There
Oh.
it is. No. Oh my gosh. They arrested him in the back of a truck.
Well, they had to put him in the back of the truck to arrest him.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
A long, most wanted ISIS mufti responsible for ordering gruesome killings, kidnappings, rapes, as well as the destruction.
Carry out too.
Obviously. As well as the destruction of the northern Iraqi city of Mosul's ancient heritage has been captured by an elite Iraqi SWAT team raid. Massively obese terror leader. Now, this is not to make fun of obese people.
No.
But
You can make fun of people when they're ISIS heads. You rip apart everything about them.
Exactly. The massively obese terror leader, Shifa al-Nima, known within the Islamic State as Abu Abdul Bari, has been dubbed Jabba the Jihadi, and photos posted online showed that after his capture, police had to load him onto the back of a flatbed to accommodate his some 560 pounds.
And that flatbed was low rising.
Considered one of the biggest captures. Get it? In recent
The biggest
months,
captures now!
due to his heading up some still active but underground ISIS gangs in the region. He was nabbed. You know, he was on the run. He was on the run. In his hideout in Mosul earlier this week. Lately, he was known to issue sermons and messages to his followers to target Iraqi police. And according to an Iraqi police statement, he is considered one of the foremost leaders of ISIS and was responsible for issuing fatwas that led to the murder of scholars and clerics. The Fat Mufti was also well known for issuing a fatwa in 2014 to bomb one of Mosul's most revered pilgrimage sites, a mosque believed to be the site of the bomb of the prophet Jonah, which attracted Muslims and Christian alike. Good luck hanging him in Iraq, they said. The Islamic State's strict Wahhabi interpretation of Islam forbids such veneration of tombs or religious places, and therefore sought to demolish any historical site is considered un-Islamic. The military news outlet Stars and Stripes detailed some among the more popular memes which spread online in the wake of the ISIS cleric's capture. Memes included "He puts the fat in fatwa," spread on social media after photos were posted of Bari seated on cushions. The images of his arrest would strike psychological blow against ISIS, Majid Nawiz said.
And that's true. That's a serious point. I mean, they're going to take this very, very hard.
That's the blow. Gluttony is frowned upon by jihadists, but also ISIS branded themselves as fighters possessing rare courage and discipline and strength, you know? Meanwhile, this walrus was their top religious cleric. They're going to be so embarrassed. Iraqi police suggest he was still making appearances in local mosques. So, yeah.
Unfortunate. So, Horatio says he sets a very bad example, and he was top of the pecking order.
Yes.
He literally looks like a chicken in that picture. Like, I butcher chickens all the time. We process our chickens and we put them in the freezer whole. So if we're gonna make fried chicken or something, I'm literally looking at this chicken, featherless. He looks like a featherless chicken. Like it's unfortunate for. Oh, there he is again.
So good day. It's a good day. I guess we don't need to do any more fatwa jokes. But that was, every once in a while you get a good story and you gotta run with it. He can't, but you got to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Patriot Gallery says jail will do that guy some good. Save him from the demons driving him insane. Probably the evilest man killing for food.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Who ate all the hummus? Oh. Who ate all the hummus?
He literally, that's the picture I chose for the thumbnail. One of the thumbnails.
Half man, half turkey.
Now he'll be cooped up. Horatio, you're full of them. Get it? Chicken coop. That's really good. You're a really punny guy.
At least he won't run away.
Oh, man.
The terrorist training camps are not what they used to be, are they? It's not.
I can't.
I'm guessing the SWAT team was needed in case he tried to eat them.
Like, how do you get dressed?
Unlikely they do suicide vests in his size.
Oh, dear. No, because he's not going to kill himself. That's the whole point.
Right, exactly.
Unbelievable. So, speaking of that...
Allahu snack bar.
That's funny. Worthy News wants to know, how's the chocolate coming along? I think that's an unfortunate...
It's going good.
time to ask about that. Like, what are you
good.
trying to say?
It's going good.
The chocolates are going fine. They're still here. They're not all gone.
He actually weighs less than the average bugula whale.
Now he'll be superseded. Horatio, that's so great. Where do you come up with this stuff?
Oh. Jabba the Jihadi.
Oh, man.
I'll never eat a turkey again.
No, you won't. Oh, my gosh. It literally looks like a chicken. Jim West says he has more folds than origami.
Oh, my word.
That's good.
And it's just, it's you know, and here's the thing. Do you know how many people starved? Because he ate them. He ate the children.
Oh, no. Cannibal.
It is sad, actually, to think about how many people were really hungry. And he was eating so much
food. I can't look at
food.
these pictures anymore. So when I was making the thumbnail today, and I had to look at these pictures, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't keep doing this. Okay, so we're going to sign off here. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. We don't have time for a song. We have puppies that need to be let out pronto. But we'll be back this week sometime when our schedule lets up. I would like to do Bible studies. I've got a couple other little videos that I would like to do. I would like, as a New Year's resolution, to be doing more smaller videos of just like our everyday farm and different things that we do.
Well,
or
this
just
is
even
one of our
talking to-
busiest seasons.
No, it shouldn't be, actually. January, I said this to, I think, Maia in a text today. Normally, we're like Europeans as pet sitters. You work 10 months out of the year to take 2 months off. And that's January and February. We haven't realized that yet, and we're 2 weeks into, we're more than 2 weeks into January, and I'm very disappointed I'm not getting my European vacations days. But
actually, we're still kind of working on Christmas, so.
But this coming Saturday, so we'll be here Friday night, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing on Saturday. So be here at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. And then Saturday morning, I think we might go live a couple of times, but by and large, we'll probably be doing interviews and stuff like that we will compile.
So, yeah, this Saturday, the Rogue, not Food Freedom Conference, it was the Rogue Freedom Conference. What I love about this is we're going to talk about, we're going to have Polyface Farm, eggs, and it's all going to be like organic and natural stuff. They're going to feed us there.
They can't see any of that.
They can't see any of it? Okay.
Because you can tell them.
So we're going to talk about a 50C3 in America, a food church. So a decade ago, Sally Fallon, founder of the Weston A. Price Foundation, suggested that perhaps we need to figure out how to use religious freedom as a way to facilitate direct farmer to consumer sales. That's actually when the Amish Mennonites that we work through and get our raw milk from, they say our church all the time. And they do that partly because they can get around certain rules by saying it's for their religious freedom. And it is for their religious freedom. Niti Bali, who eventually lost her fight against her daughter's cancer, resolved to find the best food as a matter of personal conviction. Running up against countless regulations between her and her farmers, there's the sheep. You can play that as I'm reading.
Well, does it need to have any noise?
It's just really, it could in a second.
We'll just wait.
She did, in fact, launch a food church to create space for freedom of food choice in the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina. She will walk us through the foundational thinking, the legal paperwork, and have a recognized entity and the results of this highly innovative unlicensed food model. And we actually did that when we had our township come after us, then we had our county, and my mom, as smart just like this woman, was like, let's just throw the rupula at them, which is the religious laws and the church laws in America, the federal laws, and say, listen, that my religion says I need to grow my own food. I need to do this. And eventually they had to back off. We shouldn't
have to have these backdoor, like, you know, letter of the law type thing. Like, we're obeying the letter of the law, right? And getting around it, but
so I'm really excited. Jill Salatin is going to be there. One of our favorites. John Moody, who was I think he was one of the heads of
the
Farm to Consumer. Fest. Here's Niti Bali, who's going to be there to talk about livestock production based on consumption that results in zero waste system. This balanced program follows farmers, ranchers, and artisans to operate with less risk and earn fair wages while growing their operations organically to fit the natural demand for this higher quality food. Mark Baker, Anyone Can Farm. Baker's Green Acres, a backyard garden that quickly grew to include hens, a goat, pigs, and just all kinds of great people talking about health and natural ways of living. So speaking of natural ways of living, I'm going to end on this fun little video here of a Herdwich sheep, who are like little dog sheep.
And Emma's going to show us why Herdwicks look so smiley. So this is a normal smiley Herdwick face here, or a normal sheep face, but because Herdwicks have got this super thick fleece on their faces, they've got an extra kind of drawn in smile line.
They've got a double fleece so that they can stay outside without need of shelter.
And they've got hair on their faces. Herdwick's got this thick fleece.
They got big thick legs.
It just makes them look friendly and smiley.
Look at her sitting in that lap.
Of course, they are friendly and smiley. So, if you've got a friend or someone in your family who loves Herdwicks and you're trying to think of a sort of an exciting and a different present for them, why don't you think of booking one of our Herdwick experiences, and they can come and meet these beautiful sheep and learn all about them. Come and spend a bit of time having a nice cuddle. Or if you've got friends who are into photography.
What these other farmers have done, these more like kind of greening the land and everything, going back to heritage things, is they have diversified. So they've opened up their property to have people come and tour.
I love it.
And they've researched what sheep are going to be better on the land, what sheep need less attention and coddling. And these particular sheep, these Herdwick sheep in the UK here, are super friendly.
I love it.
And you can go visit them. I want to bring in a lot of what other people are doing. These are the things that I like to watch. These are things that I do in my spare time, and I want to share it with you, especially all over the pond, across the pond. I want to share with you guys things that everyday people are doing to make the planet a better, more wholesome place. So as you leave today, there's 4 things that are kind of important. Love God with all your heart, love other people, love the land, and love animals. And when you're doing that, if something doesn't do those 4 things, it's not from God. It is satanic. We need to push against that. Okay? So when I look at kids in public school systems, you're not loving the individuality of that person.
Individuality.
You're not loving the environment. When you look at public schools, at least ours, it's not wholesome. Kids aren't running around outside in the grass and playing. It's a very sterile environment, and you're not loving God there. So, and that's bad. So you can say, hey, is something of God, is something good? Does it love God? Does it love people? Does it love the environment and love creation? Does it make you feel peaceful? You know, like seeing a fresh stream. And does it love animals? Does it, like, our animals are happy, right? Pig farms, confinement, they're not happy.
And
That's
it doesn't. Those things that you're talking about, they don't have a rule book.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like, well, I'm going to say that doesn't qualify, and from now on, like it's within yourself. Use your own common sense. We don't need to obey rules. Just think to yourself, does this qualify for these 4 things? Okay, you don't have to this letter of the law stuff that people get stuck
put your
in.
time
It's
to
ridiculous.
that. Put your effort to that. Put your encouragement to that. Put your money towards that, and we can begin to be the social change, the environmental change ourselves.
It doesn't have to be legislated.
Exactly.
Okay, so Britt Baza says, Michelle, what about the Letters in Rock Candy video?
Oh,
can we wait till next Sunday? That's one of the stories we can push forward. It'll always be there. But remind me, because I'm not good with, obviously, recall on that sort of stuff. So please remind me, and I do want to do that next week.
It's a fun video. And actually, I'm going to tell you something. This is Southland Rock.
No, go closer. Keep going, keep going. Nope, too close. Wait for it. Nope. It says Southland Rock.
Okay. To me, when I watch that video, it's a family-owned, operated business, doing it for like 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, that kind of goes in my thing. Like, it felt right. It felt good. It felt like, it's a natural way.
It was so fun. Like, I want to work there. Like, I could do that for a living. Probably.
Like, it was a family-owned, operated thing.
Yeah.
It was good. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to sign off. Get excited to see what we bring back from the conference. And like I said, we'll be going live a couple of times, but we'll do like a compilation video that we'll probably work hard on. Thomas Massey's going to be there. Hopefully we'll get a chance to actually meet him in person. We got to eat behind him the last time we were at one of these. But didn't get to interview him. I have a sneaking suspicion, and I'm
need-
kind of hoping that we might be one of the only YouTube channels there, maybe even one of the only media there. So we might be the one, we might get the interviews. So I'm hopeful about that. So we're going to sign off. We love you guys.
For boldness. And I have the hardest time going up to people.
I have zero problem. I have a mic in my hand. I will come in your face.
Once
I
get on a roll, I'm good. It's that initial thing. Like, can I interview you?
I tell you what I have a problem with. When I get nervous, it's all about the tech. Is the tech going to work? Not interviewing somebody. I want my tech to work. So I've got orders out for some expensive stuff to come, and I'm hoping I can get the mics and everything working out properly. So we love you guys. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels, Masfaith3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notification. Please, please pray that Channel 4 does not take us off of YouTube for 3 more months because we played some of their video. Because they have done that before. So we'll see you guys back on Friday.
That was because of a video takedown, and it wasn't taken down.
But they've done it twice,
But it wasn't for 3 months before. It took a little while, but we had to say, hey, we were just doing a report on this, and it was okay. It was not that long.
I'm getting nervous about it, just thinking about it.
We've played Channel 4 before.
Okay, but I just, fool me once, fool me twice.
Channel 4 is definitely Nazi about their videos.
Right. Okay, so I hate to leave you, but we really must go. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I know in the UK or in Europe, your Sunday is dying down, but for us, we still have the rest of the day to go. So we'll see you guys back later this week. God bless.
I was caught